It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Oman, featuring Ben Konowitz and Nate Loucks. And here's the podcast.
I am a repertoire player. Is that right? Is that what the third level of player is in the
third level?
It's
You've got the regular performers, the featured performers, and the regulatory players, according to Nate Loucks.
repertoire.
No,
repertoire.
Isn't featured repertory, and then
I don't know.
I don't remember what the.
Isn't it just main cast?
I'm not gonna lie. I am impressed that I can say the word repertoire.
Yeah, I couldn't even say it. I said
like,
something different.
Yeah, no, I don't know what you
I said respiratory.
They're
respiratory players because they breathe a lot.
It was a very Nate Bargatze way of saying the word.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Now Ben,
Repertory is the main cast.
That's what I said.
no, you didn't even say the word. But but what do you think? Having never heard of Nate Bargatze
or
like,
Saturday Night Live.
What did you think of that guy?
Yeah.
You both know that he's one of my favorite stand-ups working today, and I love him very much. And I love that he can work. He's as funny as any human being on the planet while working clean, which is just a crazy hard thing to do in comedy.
In the
comedy
it's
world,
so hard to do, and he does it so well. So I love Nate,
and I do want to. I love you too. And welcome to the 10 to 1 podcast. This is a Saturday Night Live recap review podcast. We are just starting in the new season 50, and good to have you guys with us. I want you guys to compare because we have two clean comics right in this episode. Rank them. Who's the better comedian, Nate Bargatze, or I like to say Nate Bargatze,
or Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan.
And people like to say Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan.
Gaffigan. I haven't.
Rank 'em.
I haven't seen the past. I want to say 2 or 3 Gaffigan specials.
What?
Yeah, I mean he's still got like 15 of them now.
I think that's the thing. Like Bargatze has, I think
Is that a
He's
pretty
got
good?
like
Jim
4
Gaffigan?
specials.
he has albums or specials, right?
Yeah.
He's got Yelled at by a Clown,
Right.
Part-time Magic or Full-time Magic,
Greatest Average American,
and then he's
Hello
got
World.
Hold on, he's got those 2 that I said,
Yeah.
and then he's got the
Tennessee
Kid is his first one on
yeah.
Netflix.
It's a good one.
Then The Greatest Average American, then
And then-
Hello World.
yeah.
So he's got 5 albums,
All very, very
3
good.
specials.
Yeah.
The 3 specials are incredible.
Yeah.
All of them are literally some of the hardest laughs I've had watching stand-up. They're very good. I still think to this day his breakout, The Tennessee Kid, is probably the hardest I've laughed at a clean comedian ever.
Yeah.
It's just so
But
funny.
comparatively, though, I don't know if I were to compare like probably the Tennessee Kid or Greatest Average American, both which I love,
to like peaking.
yeah, like Beyond the Pale,
Yeah.
Jim Gaffigan. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know?
it's very close.
Yeah, because I've seen Beyond the Pale. I don't know how many times, and it would always make me laugh.
And so that being said, there's a peak there for Gaffigan, but I don't think that because he's got so many.
Yeah.
I'm not like, wow, every one of them just made me cry with laughter.
No,
you
for
know?
sure,
That's
for sure.
tough.
No, and I have not watched his. I think maybe on Prime. Did he have a recent?
He's got a couple on Prime.
The Prisoner,
Yeah.
Dark Pale, Comedy Monster, The Pale Tourist.
Yeah.
The thing about Gaffigan too is he's clearly getting into more serious acting roles too. Like he's building a film career, whereas Nate Bargatze is not. Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
he is definitely still very much on the stand-up circuit. He's on that grind. He's probably touring 40 weeks a year. He's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's taking advantage because there's a limited shelf life these days
To be that popular
to be
at
that
stand-up comedy,
Tom Segura is probably just on the other side of it now,
Mm-hmm.
but he was peaking. Burt Kreischer, same thing. They had the skyrocket to
I
fame.
think Bargatze's bigger than those two. Don't you think?
I mean, they all sell out arenas.
Yeah.
and Madison Square Garden and stuff.
Tom Segura is pretty huge because of his podcast too. Same with Kreischer.
Kreischer's enormous. He sold out
Yeah.
like arenas. It's
Yeah.
nuts to me.
It's true.
And
It's
then
hard, it's sometimes hard for me to judge how popular a comedian is because they don't have national or like you're not seeing them on the national circuit like in the major media kind of things. A lot of them have huge
Enormous
followings,
followings,
kind of
yeah.
And then Mulaney's the other one that has probably a little bit past his prime because of the whole rehab thing. But when he Live from Radio City was just incredible. The Comeback Kid, those things were they were peaking, man.
I just listened to his because do you guys ever re-listen to comedy specials? I do.
All the time,
yeah, of
all
course,
the time.
Yeah.
So Mulaney's one after he got out of
Baby
Baby
J.
J.
re-listened to that the other day and was just laughing so.
It's so
It's
good.
great. It's a really good special.
hard.
That's what I was going to say.
It's a departure.
I was going to say, too, I don't think he's necessarily past his prime. Part of me thinks that he's definitely not at that prime level, but like past his prime makes it seem like he's like never going to be like that good again. But I feel like he's just in a different phase of his career.
I think that like past his prime for me means because of everything that's happened to him, he's a different comedian now.
Sure.
We're no longer going to get that, oh, this is all fun and games, and it's just a lot of like, he's doing some dark stuff, some serious stuff. It's still very funny.
Yeah.
But Comeback Kid and Radio City were like peaking just fun, silly Mulaney where it was unhinged. And we know why now, but it was just
the cocaine.
very, very good stuff that was approachable for everybody.
Yeah.
And I love comedians that know how to take the hardest bits of life and make them funny. And so this turn might not be as accessible to some people, but I love where Mulaney's going with some of this. But
and I love cocaine.
who doesn't? But
Speaking of cocaine, Saturday Night Live is still very much a thing. And we just had the second episode of season 50 following the premiere last week.
We know. That's why we were talking about
50.
Nate Bargatze.
This is the second.
50.
This is the second of 4 episodes in a row that we're getting here to kick off season 50. It's a big deal. And the host, as we said, was Nate Bargatze. And this is the second time hosting. And he had
In 2 years.
Yeah, pretty good. He
Which
just
is very
he just
rare.
hosted actually less than a year ago.
Yeah, it's very rare. Very
Yeah.
rare. I don't think in the last 10 years they've had that happen more than twice, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was joined by Coldplay as the musical guest, which I was I want to say, no spoiler really here, but I was a little bummed that they didn't get in on any of the sketch action.
Because there wasn't a ton of sketches, though.
Well, I don't know if that's entirely true.
I think they had a couple long ones, and then
But
the
even the
cold
cold
open was very long.
It wasn't as long as last week's though.
No, they cut 5 minutes off it, but then their monologue was twice as long.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
The stand-up monologue does take a little bit
there
out of it.
wasn't a ton, but we'll get into it. But yeah,
There wasn't the same number that there usually is. That's for
correct.
sure.
Yeah.
But let's get into it then. Let's talk about Saturday Night Live.
All right, vice presidential debate cold opening. 2 POVs between vice presidential debate candidate J.D. Vance, played by Bowen Yang, and Tim Walz, Jim Gaffigan, and the vice president residence with Kamala Harris, played by Maya Rudolph, Doug Emhoff, played by Andy Samberg, and Joe Biden, played by Dana Carvey. So in this sketch, they're going back and forth, showing the debates back to the residence, the vice president residence. This was, I checked this morning, the #1 trending video on YouTube.
Yeah, of course it was.
This was, I mean, they're not always. But this definitely was. And
I think it depends on what time you look too.
yeah, but I mean, this had, because I tried to check the view counts. This had 2.5 million views already.
It was. I checked them actually because I was watching the last few that I missed from the night before, and then I checked for any cut for time.
Yep.
And then I started seeing the hundreds of thousands of views or whatever. And this was probably at 9 a.m. And it had 1.5 million. And the second biggest one was, we'll get into it, but it had 600,000 at that time.
Yeah.
So the cold open is huge on this one.
Let me say a couple things that I loved about this is the impressions by every cast member. I mean, every one of them, and the guests as well, Dana Carvey, obviously, Jim Gaffigan, are just fantastic. The performance in this cold open is just a little bit electric to watch. It is, because everyone does a role here that is really, really good, adding nuance. Bowen Yang, right, adds nuance to J.D. Vance that is just so good. Dana Carvey's brilliant in his Joe Biden. Just brilliant.
I forgot how good he can be, and that sounds like a slap in the face, but you know, his later on getting back into doing impressions on Fly on the Wall podcast, he'll just jump right into the old favorites, old standbys. This is the first time I've seen a quote unquote new impression from him in a while, and my God, is he perfect? Literally perfect. And it reminds you why he was so good.
I think if I wish his voice was a little bit deeper. I think that's my one complaint about it. But the great thing
His
about
mannerisms, though,
that's the thing, is the great thing about Dana Carvey is he really hones in on very specific little details as far as his cadence and how he says certain things, and that's really what makes it work. Despite that,
also he is, because he's been doing it for so long, and maybe he did this in the 90s when he was obviously at the top of his game then, that man understands a pause like
Yeah.
nobody else in an
Yes.
impression.
Yep.
And it's not waiting for the laughter to die down. It's a Letterman style thing where like if I keep this going, it's gonna get funnier.
Right.
Exactly.
And then he knows exactly when to pull it.
Yeah.
I'm going to
It's
use the crowd against
Freaking
itself almost.
perfect.
Yeah.
All that said, also Jim Gaffigan does a fantastic Governor Waltz
Mhm.
impression as well. I mean, it's just so good. The sketch itself was just fine. There wasn't anything in there that really had me dying laughing.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable. Like I didn't dislike it, and we often are critical, right, of the cold openings, but it wasn't bad. There was
Yeah.
nothing in this that grabbed me though.
I think what's making them maybe work a little bit better than they otherwise might is the fact that everybody is so good in their
Yep.
roles. Because even when Maya Rudolph messed up that Bruce Springsteen line,
Yeah.
she
Let
took
me
it,
try that
Yeah,
again.
she took a second. I really appreciated that she took a second to compose herself and kind of like won the crowd back. Because like otherwise, you knew there was going to be that struggle of like the punchline didn't land. We're off our game.
And the punchline didn't land as much. Baby, we
right?
were born to run.
But doing that moment, it was like, oh, okay, we're going to get back into it.
Because she did that, and then the crowd responded even bigger than they would
Exactly.
have if she would have nailed it the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
She knows what she's doing.
And what they did here too is right when they take these political characters, you go back to the Sarah Palins, you go back to the George Bushes, you go back to all the characters that they've done that have been so successful. They take these characters and they bring just a little twist of it. Doug Emhoff, right? I don't know if you guys follow. This type of,
I'm a Hoffhead.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite.
but they've turned him into this kind of lovable
Mehoff,
husband,
Doug.
That isn't necessarily him, but it's him enough.
Is him enough.
Yeah.
And it makes him kind of a fun. It's a satirized.
It's
version
more
of him.
it's more about capturing the vibe of
Yeah.
Doug Emhoff than it is like doing a real impression of
exactly.
him.
But that's what I love. And I think when they do political satire well, they're just hitting it just enough.
This
Yeah.
year's Christmas decoration, Hanukkah.
Yes,
Love that
and,
line.
and he's doing. Andy
That's from,
Samberg's doing
that's from
great.
last time.
I know.
Andy Samberg's doing great there. So all that to say, I didn't think the comedy was the best comedy. There
No.
were some predictable jokes.
Well,
in
and
there.
not only predictable, but like it's the same problem that they run into, especially when it comes to, and we're obviously a little biased because we do lean a little more to the left than we do the right.
Whoa.
But like you're not gonna find anything like it's tough to find comedy that is funnier than what JD Vance really did at the debate with the. We said we weren't gonna fact check. That's a real thing that happened, and just saying it several times in like a repeated hushed manner doesn't make it funnier. It's just doing what happened.
It's just
and
so it is hard to parody a parody,
Yeah.
basically, and
And,
that's what.
and when
feels
Tim Waltz in the vice presidential debate said, "I'm friends with school shooters," and then cut to Kamala Harris where she breaks
the
the
glass.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like,
whatever, right?
I kind of saw it coming.
Yeah,
Sure,
exactly.
a little
Like,
bit.
oh, she was frustrated because
Yeah.
I'm sure she was, like because I was a pretty big guy.
But I always like the little like interludes that they add to stuff when like Waltz was taking notes and it's like, are you taking notes on your responses? Like, oh no, I just gotta grade these midterms.
Yep.
And then when
Yeah, that was
Dana
that was
Carvey
actually funny.
tried to got the ice cream on Maya Rudolph's face,
And I don't know if he was supposed to.
I don't think he was supposed to,
because her
'cause
reaction was kind of like,
like, okay, here we go.
yeah.
Are you a little surprised at how good Jim Gaffigan is at this? Because he's really good.
No, I'm actually not, and here's why. He had an actual show for a little bit.
Yeah.
The Jim Gaffigan show is
yeah.
called.
Yeah, and it was very good. Everything he's ever been in, it's very good.
Yeah.
He's a very good actor.
The funny thing is I wasn't necessarily sure if he could do a good impression of Tim Waltz because Waltz's voice is a little bit more gravelly. And Gaffigan's isn't quite like that, but again, it's one of those things where he has the demeanor and he speaks in that Midwestern way.
And he
As
is
a Midwestern.
yeah, exactly. You know,
So he gets it. He gets
Yeah.
And
the-
he's very good at the Minnesota accent. He says the don't, it's almost like Canadian. Oh, don't you know? Like it's
Yeah.
He's bringing that.
but it's slight. It's
Yeah.
slight. Yeah.
but it's the dads of our friends we know,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Jim Gaffigan probably grew up knowing these guys,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So
Did I tell you guys that I interviewed Jim Gaffigan?
no,
Oh, boy, great. Here we go.
no,
Humble
how,
Brad.
How was he?
I just wanted to tell you that.
Was he a nice guy?
I'm sure
Oh no,
he
he was
very nice.
No, he's fantastic. And if you haven't seen a movie called Linoleum, I would recommend you seek it out. It is not a comedy. It is an indie that's a little bit strange, definitely more dramatic, but he's the lead in it, and he's fantastic in it. I really liked it a lot. It was one of my favorite movies from, I think it was last year.
Yeah.
If not last year, the year before.
I remember you talking about it. All right, moving on. Stand-up monologue by Nate Bargatze. Back to host Saturday Night Live for the second time, Nate Bargatze talks about going to community college, not knowing what extra virgin olive oil is, and abusing the DoorDash app at McDonald's and Sonic's.
I felt personally attacked by the DoorDash stuff.
I'm sure you did.
I only use DoorDash. I don't use Uber Eats. I've never used any of the other ones.
How often do you DoorDash?
I mean,
Once a week.
it was daily.
That's not me, by the way. That's me answering for Ben.
No, it was daily for quite a while.
Oh, that's sad.
And the double dash thing and all that, I mean, it's so true. I have literally had 2 DoorDash drivers come at the same time because I did a double dash, and I was like, wait, I thought that the same person was just going to do this because the restaurants are right by each other. It's so awkward. It's crazy.
It's not the same person?
He is exactly right. He was telling the honest to God truth. I've done it where you DoorDash something from, in our town, McDonald's and Taco Bell are right next to each other, and and the double dash is real. They don't charge you any fees or anything to add something on. You still have to retip the driver again.
Yeah.
But I always thought, oh, well, he's going to be right there, so he's just going to, nope.
I've always thought that when it was a double dash, it was they gave you the stuff that was like on the way to your location, and that if you got something, it was just easier for your driver who's already on the way to do it.
Makes sense
too, but that's not at all how it
Interesting.
works. It's freaking great. But yeah, I felt personally attacked there. Did anybody else think that this felt a little?
I'm gonna say yes before you say yours, and I'm gonna see if it's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Did anybody else feel like this was a little bit more of like him working stuff out?
Yes,
because I felt the first about minute and a half of it was awkward. Like it was just
not really finding his footing, and it's because it's almost like the jokes
so
are
much of him.
Oh, I saw him at the Helium in Indy before he did Madison Square Garden, and he's definitely almost there.
Yeah.
You know, now what were some of the early? Because there's one joke that he does early on in this monologue, and we can cut this if it drags on a little too long. Me trying to remember it. I've listened to Yelled At by a Clown and Full Time Magic going to sleep. I listen to stand up sometimes. I probably listened to those albums 30, 40 times by now. He did a bit.
In the community college one?
Yes, but it's not the same stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same exact premise where he talks about doing remedial classes, and he's like, I took, because it wasn't speech in the album, it's like I took English as a non-immigrant, and I drove to that class. Like that's funny, and then he took the same premise, and now he's like spinning around with it.
And that's part of his shtick, right? Is I'm not a smart
guy,
right?
But it still felt like working stuff out.
Yeah, it did. I think the second half was stronger than the first half, but some of that material definitely felt like it was still really like getting it ready for a special.
Did you though?
And it might be.
Did part of you though in that first like minute and a half of awkwardness? Did part of you like start being like, "Come on"?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, because I'm in my head going like, I tell everybody how funny you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, please, the international audience is getting a chance to see you, and you did fine last time, buddy.
Yeah,
you killed it last time.
But
actually.
I really want my friends and family to be like, Ben, you're right. This guy's hilarious.
Yeah,
exactly. And I felt that he ended up pulling it out.
Yeah, he was fine by the end.
It was just not as good as the first time.
No.
All right, Washington's Dream 2, written by Streeter Seidel, Mikey Day, and Mike DeCenzo. George Washington, played by Nate Bargatze, talks with his soldiers, played by Mikey Day, Bowen Yang, James Austin Johnson, and Keaton Thompson, about the unique words of the English language. This is obviously the second version of this. They did this before. It went viral. It was a huge hit. Always risky to bring this back because you never know if you can capture the same thing. Let me say, I liked this, but there was one very specific thing I did not like about this iteration of it. Can you guys guess what it is?
Ooh, this is like a fun game that we're doing today in this episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to say what it is, and then you tell me if it's right.
Okay.
That they did not have in the first version of this, that they added to this one that I did not
throwing him
like.
off the boat?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
The background music. I did not like the background music, and here's why. I feel it messed with the awkward silences that Nate Bargatze has to have in the sketch for it to work. And when there is music there, it fills the air a little bit.
That's fair.
And I went back and watched the first one. They had no music. They had no swelling. They had no nothing. It was just him talking to his guys. And actually, I wish they would have went with that again, because part of the fun of this sketch is the silences.
Mm-hmm.
It is Nate Bargatze being awkward. It is all of those things. And the music, I bet if they would have turned that off, would have added just slightly more to that, and it would have been a little bit better. I don't know why they decided to go with background music in this one. I don't know why.
Part of me wonders if they felt like it went better with the vibe of the scene that they had built, because since it is that triumphant portrait of Washington on the boat, like it's that famous image. And so maybe they felt like it should have been a little more heroic.
And maybe they thought that first one, man, you know what? It would have been a little better if we did background music, because those awkward silences were too awkward and the audience didn't really know what to do.
But then, I don't know if you guys noticed this, though, as well. The music was synced with the sketch, but they got behind in the sketch a little bit. And so the swelling at the end started before they were at that point. They missed their mark for that.
That makes it tougher.
Yeah, it makes it a little tougher. And so, again, then I'm thinking
as somebody who's kind of dumb, though, and didn't really pay attention to that part of it, I like the sketch.
I did love the sketch, right? It was good. It was the same formula, but it was good.
It's really hard to catch lightning in a bottle twice. They did a pretty serviceable job here. I like that it's, they're
you
talking
know the
about
premise
words.
now,
Yeah.
right? You know the premise.
And so then it becomes, can I get ahead of it?
Yep.
Do I know what's coming next? And a lot of it I didn't see it coming. Like, it was really fun.
I
really thought that maybe they would bring back Baker's Dozen with a dozen, because like there's no other number has a word.
Right.
And then they did donuts, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is a great setup for Baker's Dozen. They didn't do it. I was like, oh, never mind. That's why I'm not a comedy writer.
What about you, Brad? What did you think?
No, it was not as good as the first one, but it was still very funny. And I part of me wonders if there's any part of the writing process where, like, is this stuff that they are just thinking of on their own, or are they going and looking up like weird things about the English language?
Of course they are.
And then figuring out how to make it funny.
Of course they are. You would do that. I would do that.
But I also do like, comedy writers are smart. They're sharp. If this is stuff that they have thought of, and figuring out how to fit it into like a comedy sketch somewhere, because like every now and then you think of something that's funny and you write it down and you save it for later and you figure out where to fit it in.
Sure.
But yeah, like I would like to know more about the writing process for this one.
I would assume that it's everybody comes to the table with stuff that they've been thinking about, and then they probably will do a cursory search just to make sure there's nothing glaring that would be, oh man, that's right there in front of us.
Yeah, because it's some of it does have that thing of like where there used to be like a list that would go around of things that are just funny, like why do we drive in a parkway and park in a driveway, stuff like that.
I'm sure if they really wanted to Google, they could have found the examples of these pretty easily, right, online somewhere already. So, because these
I did like the football one, and it wasn't just because like it's a game where you throw. That's clever, but then it's like, do you use your feet? Like sometimes, like you kick it every once in a while. Like that part of it was really funny.
My favorite one in this one was the examples of animals and
chicken. Did you do chicken?
Yeah, calling them something different when they're alive as opposed to when they're food. I thought that was
chicken,
really funny.
It's poultry.
That one's
it's poultry.
Stay the same.
That's fine.
All right, moving on. Pre-tape.
No one calls it that.
So, that's.
Hey, you want to go to Kentucky Fried Poultry?
I mean, when it's slaughtered, it's
asshole.
Poultry. Just saying.
No one says it.
And to be fair, poultry actually includes more than chicken. It can.
You know what?
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Good job, Nate.
All right.
I said I was sorry.
The more we break him down, the more he'll understand.
All right, moving on. Pre-tape. Golf tournament written by Streeter Seidel and Mikey Day. A golfer named Brady Knoll, played by Nate Bargatze, hits some unfortunate shots during a charity golf tournament. Also features Mikey Day as Chef Duffy, Heidi Gardner as Amy Claremont, and Marcelo Hernandez as the caddy. What did you guys think of this one? I laughed quite a bit. Honestly.
I laughed a lot. I really did. So Nate was on Seth Meyers this week, and he talked about a sketch that they didn't do last time. And he didn't say anything. He's just like, "There's a sketch we were going to do last time, and we couldn't really get it. And I'm really hoping right now it's in, and I'm hoping it stays in." And I think that this was it.
You think?
Because Nate Bargatze is an incredibly good and avid golfer.
Yeah, he
loves golfing. And so I feel if any of the sketches tonight were one of those sketches, I think this was it. I really liked it. Like the tee shot, I didn't see the premise coming, and obviously when he hits the bird, it was great.
It's done so well.
It really is.
And then the veterans turn around.
Oh God, that was so funny. And then he walks up to his ball, and Ashley, I'm watching it with my girlfriend, and she goes, "Oh, it's an egg." Yeah. And as soon as he hits it and splatters it, that was great.
What the hell was that?
And then the eagle comes by, and then Chet, whatever his name is, Mike, that got really close. And the way he said it, he was it was almost
startled me.
It startled me, and that was really funny. The way he said that delivery was great.
No, this sketch was fantastic, and there was so obviously when they do pre-recorded sketches, they always have really good production value.
Yep.
But this one though, what enhanced it even more was they went out of their way and I'll give credit to director Tim Wilkemy for this. The way that they lensed it very much felt like golf on TV.
Exactly.
Even like the live sports, like the filter, the way that they shot it, the angles they had, everything felt like a legit golf tournament coverage.
I wonder how much of that is them literally going and be like, hey, you know what? Let me call my buddy at NBC Sports and let me ask some questions about how they do that, because there's lenses for everything.
Yeah.
And so you just call up NBC Sports and like, oh yeah, we just use this. That's so cool. I hope there's that collaboration there.
Yeah.
Because if there's not, that director is incredible as far as coming up with that.
It was done incredibly well. It looked good. It was really funny. There was escalation. Maybe a slight ding for the turtle that looked really fake.
That was just silly. Yeah. I do love though, like, because it's, and the escalation being like, don't tell me that's like whatever, Fairway Frank or whatever. He's been here since 1977.
No, and then they have the graphic, special for Fairway Frank.
Yeah, that was so good. They came up with it immediately. They already have a special planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole sketch was great.
It was
and they knew how to end it, because again, he hits a hole in whatever, he hits like an albatross, whatever it would be. Sorry, that was early in the sketch.
Bird.
But then he of course kills the chipmunk or whatever, and that's how the sketch ends. So it's just there's a great ending to a great sketch.
Yeah,
there's like little Nate Bargatze like ways that he says things too, where he's like obviously I didn't hit it on purpose. I don't think I could hit it on purpose.
That's a perfect him delivery of that.
Exactly.
I couldn't do that if I wanted to. You guys y'all understand that, right? That's so good.
All right, moving on. Univision Sábado Gigante.
Sábado Gigante.
It's Giant Saturday, Nate.
It is.
Written by Stephen Castilla, Brian Tucker, Dan Bulla, and
Stephen
Marcelo.
Castillo.
Is it Castilla or Castillo?
Castillo.
And Marcelo Hernandez. An American man, Nate Bargatze, goes on a Mexican game show hosted by Don Francisco, played by Marcelo Hernandez. Also features Ego Wodum, Chloe Feynman, and Ashley Padilla as the backup dancers, and Emil Wakeham. Is it Wakeham or Wackham?
Waka waka waka.
Wakeham as Dracula. This was so much fun. I actually liked this. I don't know if you guys did. I could see people maybe potentially thinking that this is a little bit much. This is a real TV show.
No.
Correct?
So I want to tell you this. Nothing about this show and the way it is played off is exaggerated.
Yeah, and also that's not racist.
No,
it's real.
This is exactly how Sábado Gigante is. I know this because my grandpa would watch Sábado Gigante all the time. It is this random and ridiculous. It has girls dancing all the time. It's such an insane variety show.
Like when Nate Bargatze plays a character who gets pulled up in the audience and he's like, "Oh, I don't speak any Spanish." That's the get, right?
Yeah.
But it was so funny right off the bat where he was like, why is there a Dracula?
Yeah.
He was just so earnest when he asked it.
Well, and this is such a perfect example again, and we talked about this when Bad Bunny hosted, is there's comedy that you can do where you don't understand what's being said for the most part, but it's like it's how it's presented and what you're doing where you understand what's happening, you still get like what's funny about it.
There's so much visual to take in here and to follow along with it, right?
Shout out to Marcelo Hernandez, by the way.
Oh gosh,
yes.
He was fantastic here. Also, because I watched this on Peacock live,
but it's Peacock.
I watched it on Peacock live. I would pause it after this was over. I paused it, and then I brought up the Japanese game show from the '90s with Chris Farley. Because that's exactly
with Mike Myers.
That's exactly what this
Forgot
is.
About that. You forgot about that.
And so I was like, it immediately made me think of that, and that's the better version of this. It is because it's just that's.
But it's
hilarious.
also, but it's. I think what
this is still very good.
Yeah, it's still very good because it's Nate.
But this ran because that one walked.
The way Nate Bargatze plays it off is much different than the way Chris
of
Farley
course.
does.
But it's the exact same premise.
Of course,
yeah. And if you go back and watch the one from the '90s, I think the more impressive thing about that is, and I'm not sure if it's all fake Japanese, but Mike Myers is speaking Japanese, and it's monologues.
I'm pretty sure it's fake Japanese.
Of course,
yeah.
but it's so convincing because him and I can't remember. I think it's
Jeannie Garofalo, isn't it?
Jeannie Garofalo, yeah, she's one of the contestants,
Yeah.
and Alec Baldwin is the other one. But then he's there with a cast member that's a woman that is also, and they're all speaking fake Japanese, but it's so convincing, and it's Haji Juhaji,
Yeah.
and it's just really good. Haji Juhaji, I don't know, So it's just that sketch is an all-timer for sure. It just immediately made me think of this. This stands on its own 2 feet for sure because Bargatze sells it.
Not only that too, but like it's the using like a real show and bringing so much into it, like from that show. They did such a good job of creating all the different elements of it and making it work, like from the puppets to the dancing to the game show.
It's a lot of logistics to have going on. It was very impressive.
And also, this is why it's important to have people from different backgrounds on the show as well, right? Because Marcelo Hernandez is able to probably because he had a grandfather, somebody that was watching this show.
It's the same. It's the same reason we saw, like when Fred Armisen was on, you would get Showbiz Grande Explosion with "Ay Dios mío."
Yep.
Again, real stuff from
So
Mexican television.
I want to bring this up because I saw this online that Don Francisco, who is the host, a genuine real host, right, wrote this and commented on the YouTube video of this.
That's awesome.
And he says,
Hold on, Brad. It might not be great.
No. Either way, it's great.
He's like, this was a slap in the face to Mexican culture.
No, this is actually very endearing. He says, I thank SNL for bringing back memories of our, how do you say it? Sábado
Gigante.
Sábado Gigante.
Which was not only a great television program, but was also very important as a meeting point for the family and our Hispanic community. Thanks to the public, we closed our story almost 10 years ago, but we still feel the affection and respect for what we were able to build together.
That's awesome.
I thought that show was still in the air.
I mean,
Gigante, I thought it was still like today on the air.
They probably just still play reruns.
Oh yeah, that's
Don
awesome.
Francisco is not young. He's 83.
Good for
So
him.
Well, Clint Eastwood's what, 105?
Yeah, still making movies.
He's vampire. Yep. But I really love this one. It was really good. And you need somebody. This is like we talked about this a little bit before, where this has to be written for Nate Bargatze because you need his awkwardness to play in this.
Oh,
in order for it to
He's
work.
the perfect
And
American
Jean Smart,
dumb guy.
as much as I love her, probably couldn't do what he did in this sketch.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the things actually that I realized actually in this episode, and this kind of shows how good SNL can be when they know what to do, because sometimes it can be difficult. Sometimes the pieces just don't come together and it doesn't work. That's just how a show like this is. But with someone like Bargatze, they're able to see what he does well, what his strengths are, and build a show around him where he doesn't have to do much to change his performance. Nate Bargatze is pretty much always very much playing a version of himself, slightly awkward, dry white guy,
kind of dumb.
And what you either do is you either make it that the awkwardness is part of the comedy, you create chaos around him so that he is like in the middle of it and he can play it straight and it's the chaos that's funny, or you let somebody else do the heavy lifting, and he still plays the with the sketch we'll get to in a little bit with Heidi Gardner, and so like they just figured out really like the best way to utilize Nate as a host without forcing him to do things that he wouldn't be good at.
Right. Because it allows him to add to the sketch just by kind of doing what he already does.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's his personality. Bring the thing that you do to this and make it funny. Yep. All right, moving on. Devil Dogs Drop. A pair of EMTs, played by Michael Longfellow and Nate Bargatze, decide on what to do with a dead guy on a water slide, much to the chagrin of two lifeguards, played by Devin Walker and new cast member Jane Wickline.
And really, it's the chagrin of one of them because Devin Walker's character, he's pretty much all in.
Yeah.
Can we have a side conversation, please?
Yes.
It's going to be the main conversation, though, I think.
No. Let's see. You know what, Brad? Let's hear Nate out.
I don't know how to say
Spit it
this.
out.
I am so far not in favor of if we replaced Chloe Trost for Jane Wickline. I don't think that was a good trade.
I think it's too early to say for sure.
Pretty aggressive second episode. Nate.
You
would be pissing yourself with nerves. You wouldn't be able to say on screen. Okay,
that'd be freaking awesome. That'd be freaking awesome.
Let's give this person a little bit of time before
before
you run them out of New York.
And at the very least,
Chloe Trost nailed it.
But you can't necessarily say that like
because she was singing.
Yeah, but you
even
can't,
harder, Ben.
But you can't say that like
bullshit
that Jane Wickline replaced Chloe Trost necessarily.
I know.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily know
how that dynamic
worked out. But also,
Jane Wickline has not been good. She's super awkward.
But I think that's part of her thing.
It's a nepo baby.
Hold on.
Nepo baby. Nepo baby.
Hold on. I will step in here. If it's part of her thing, then that's she needs to get better at it, because this is genuine nervousness that is just not.
If she's trying to be awkward,
she's stilted and awkward. I get it.
I'm not. That's the thing, though.
But that's Michael Longfellow's thing, and he actually makes it work.
I'm not. Michael Fellow is not awkward. Michael Fellow is dry. There's a difference.
Who's Michael Fellow?
Michael. He's my friend. I call him Michael Fellow. Longfellow's his stage name.
Oh, gotcha.
When you're friends,
Fellow's brother.
When you're friends with Mike Fellow, as long as I am, you know what to call him. No, I think it's too soon to know for sure. But
I'm not right now.
I do think that Jane Wickline has a persona that is meant to be genuinely an awkward kind of comedian. I think that's her natural personality, and I do think that there is some nerves there. But I also think even if she wasn't nervous, I think that's how she is.
Let's put a pin in this.
Better.
Let's put a pin in this until we get an update, because we can expound on this then. Because I have more to say about her awkwardness in that.
All right,
in that.
fine,
Okay.
right. Let's get to the sketch itself. This was
Nate was wrong though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm not. But I never am. But
well, you were actually, and you were wrong twice. Because you said, number one, if they swapped one for that, which is not a thing.
no,
right,
but
at
I'm
all.
just saying they got rid of Chloe Troy.
And also, second, it's so early.
Doesn't matter. Wow. No, it doesn't, because listen, Marcelo Hernandez, we knew he was going to be good early.
In the second episode.
Yes.
We'll have to go back and see.
Yeah, we will.
We'll go to the tape.
I actually think that was like his first time on Weekend Update.
Yeah,
when he smashed.
killed it. Do you remember?
I don't think it
was
was
like
the second episode.
No, but do you remember that group, Michael Longfellow included, when they went on Weekend Update? They each had a Weekend Update, and
But
it was
you
like
can't
each week-
expect them all to nail it right from the
Okay,
get-go.
but this is two episodes in a row where she's super awkward.
It's the first two episodes on a international stage
of her career.
Yeah.
And what is she, 19? Like, she's so young.
Yeah.
She's 25, but here's the thing: is
You know a lot about her, Nate.
I did, because I'm like,
You know too much about her.
I know she's a nepo baby. I know she got this because of her contacts with Lauren. I know that.
Why?
I know
Who's
that.
the contact?
Yeah. What?
Her mom worked at SNL.
Who's her
She
mom?
was her mom's. Her mom was Lauren's assistant for years in the 80s and 90s.
Well, Lauren's just giving away positions, I guess.
Her dad.
I mean, she did have a big following on TikTok, though.
No, she does. Yeah, but
So definitely didn't earn it by herself, Nate. Wow.
no, but here's the
For
thing.
someone who loves Please Don't Destroy so much, I'm not sure why you're complaining about nepo babies.
I'm not complaining about nepo babies.
Sounds like you are.
Sounds like
Sounds like you are.
definitely sounds like he's
But
complaining
here's
about
the thing:
nepo babies.
is, Please Don't Destroy. Good, their first episode. They're good. Good, the first video. Do you
Yeah,
disagree?
because the awkwardness and the nervousness could be split three ways.
So maybe the problem is putting her in the sketch. Stop putting her in the sketches.
Oh my goodness!
Whoa,
What?
jeez.
It's the second.
Just let her spread her
Episode.
wings and fly.
Let her be an eagle and soar.
Or if you're on SNL, be good. Be good. You're on
Wow,
SNL.
what is going on
Jane,
with
if
him
you're
right
listening,
now?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jane, we actually listen. Yes, you're awkward and a little stilted, and I'll get into it a little bit more about your Weekend Day performance. But you know what? I still believe you're going to be great. This is nervousness. You're going to shake it off. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
Nate.
We'll see.
Wow.
All right. Talk a little bit about the sketch. What did you think of the actual sketch itself?
So you were the one that told Brad and I, and obviously this is
Yeah,
true.
because I do the work.
This
I do the
came
work.
from Michael Longfellow's stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a stand-up bit that he did that's now turned into a sketch.
Similar to when James Austin Johnson did Lake Beach.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a very, very funny sketch premise. Then you add Bargatze being the guy who can, again, this is the show, being like, oh, Bargatze would be really good as a guy's like, well, I mean, there's a way to do this. He other than, again, Gene Smart could have been in this sketch, but it wouldn't have worked.
No.
It's the way that he's like, I'm not, and again, your idea.
You
Yeah.
can see
Right?
him do
It's
this in his
perfect.
stand-up, right?
Yes.
This was almost like him doing this.
Watching
in
this
his
sketch, I could not believe they didn't take advantage of pairing Nate Bargatze and Michael Longfellow in the first episode that Bargatze hosted.
Yes.
Because that pairing is incredible.
Yeah, they're on the same page immediately.
Yeah.
They play off each other so well.
I have another question for you guys.
It's just great.
Another question. Who was the person under the sheet?
Oh,
I know. I wish I knew.
I don't know. That's
I
why
don't
I don't know.
Played a great dead body though.
Yeah.
It's like I really wonder who had to lay there. The
It
whole
was
time.
so, and not laugh because I would have been laughing.
Yeah, you just see the belly.
The belly moving. But yeah, no, it was just like it's really funny. Like when they did the voting and they pan out and the kids are all raising
Yeah.
their hands. Like that was great.
Guys,
Just it's the delivery of Longfellow and Bargatze's lines that make it so funny. Just because they're like feigning like the development of it, gosh, yeah. I mean,
255 steps.
I wish there was another way.
Yeah, just if there was only like somewhere else we could do this.
Let's take a vote, right? The vote thing just.
And honestly, like he probably would have loved it. It's just great.
And then Devin Walker's like, I want to see what the splash is going to like. Yeah, we all want to see that, but we're not going to say it.
You don't say it out loud. We're not going to get the photo. That's just every part of it was good.
If I'm doing the math here, guys, we've only liked the sketches that have been on so far.
So far, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty impressive so far.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Weekend update with Colin Jost and Michael Che. Weekend update anchors Colin Jost and Michael Che tackle the week's biggest news, including Trump returning to the site of his assassination attempt, being released that Trump was scrolling Twitter during January 6th, Elon Musk attending a Trump rally, and Trump not wanting to release his medical records. We also will get into this. As Ben mentioned, our weekend update bit is Jane Wickline singing about partying and being someone's plus one. Now let's go to our Bradometer. Will you please explain it? Ben?
If you're new to the show,
welcome.
The Bradometer is a score from 0 to 100 that rates the interaction between Colin Jost and Michael Che, how much they're vibing off of each other, and really paying attention to each other, maybe more than just delivering the jokes directly. And we do say that there is like a bonus multiplier if the episode of the weekend update is very good, then you're going to get a little bump there. But it's basically about how much side eye do they give each other, how much little like, oh, that was a good one for you, good job. It's a little bit of the back and forth. This one, Nate or Brad, did you already put it in?
I did.
This is a 91 for me for the Bradometer. It has to be. This is the most interaction I've seen in quite a while. And it wasn't just the interaction between the two of them, but also like the camera cuts to Jost and Che's still talking.
Yep.
That was a lot.
They were having a ton of fun.
They're also counting now. They're like you could hear it
see,
the first time
having off-camera conversations about what is funny and not.
That's the second laugh I got, and they're tracking it and they're doing that to each other.
I do want to leave some room to grow here. So you said 91. I'm going to say 90. Brad.
85.
What's it going to take to please you?
What happened to you? Who hurt you?
Here's the thing.
Why are you so bitter?
It's also relative because we only had one weekend update segment with which new headline punchlines this time. So we don't get two halves of Jost and Che joking around together. If they had done this and they carried over across two halves, that would be a lot better.
What does that even mean?
But it
means nothing.
There also wasn't like repeat back and forth. There was one big back and forth, and then there was like a little bit of.
They were counting their jokes. They got laughs.
Yeah, like, that's 3 for me.
But it was
they kept doing it.
It was an 85.
You now have to defend that position because you just said there were a couple one-offs. No, they went back and forth like 3 or 4 times.
They were having a good time.
A few with one half of a weekend update. So if they had done this an entire way through for 2 different halves, that'd be different. But this was not as big as the best weekend updates, and that's when you get into the 90s.
Is it because you also didn't like the jokes from this thing?
No, I thought the jokes were great in this one.
I give up. Next time I'm gonna be like 50. I don't care.
It's never 50 unless it's bad.
I don't care.
We're moving this to the Benometer.
Yeah, thank you.
Benometer.
Anyway.
All right. So, do you guys want to say anything else about the actual weekend update?
I'm
all right,
pissed.
Let's move to Jane
It was
Wickline.
really funny.
Good for you.
So Jane Wickline was too long. Moving on.
So this is the awkward stuff I'm talking about. When you're nervous and awkwardness takes away from the bit because you're stepping on the punchlines or somebody else's line, or it's an awkward, like you're flubbing and this and that. That's not the kind of awkwardness that you want to see. And that did happen quite a few times here where she was just off a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was because of the nervousness. I get it if that's your character and you play it like Kyle Mooney did. He was perfect at that, but also very, very stilted and awkward, but never to the fact where it was like not purposeful and it actually affected the sketch a little bit. She's so nervous that that's happening. What I'm saying is I I would be too.
Yeah.
Like, let's give her time, but you can't say off the back like that. Oh no, it was perfect.
No, not at all.
Like, because that's her
She's
shtick.
Definitely not ready
'Cause
for prime
I don't-
time.
Her shtick is
Shut up, Nate.
Her shtick is not to step on Joe's lines and get it a little confused.
No,
right?
exactly. I definitely agree with you. This was not perfect by any means. This was not like
Good.
the performance of a polished comedian
Sure.
by any means. But I like what was there. I do like the premise of what she did. I like the song. I like that it's lo-fi. I do think that it does fit her personality. I think we will find that even if she does get more confident, she does have an awkward, kind of just genuinely awkward delivery. But it reminded me of there's a little bit of Sandler here, because when Sandler first started doing musical stuff, it was like a little bit shy and a little bit weird. But this also has a little bit of like that alt comedy dynamic that
Sure.
Sandler didn't have. And so I like what's here. It's not perfect. I think there's definitely room to grow.
But but again, she'll get there.
Yeah.
Like I have faith in like some of us.
By no means did I think this was bad.
Did you think it was good?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I don't think it was great by any
it
means,
wasn't.
but I think that the song and the joke, like what she was doing, especially as it escalated into being like the +1 of a +2, and then like as it got going from there, good stuff. Her timing and her delivery needs some work, but there's some good stuff here. Fuck you, Nate.
I miss when my friends actually appreciated comedy.
I wish my friends would know not to deliver cheesy criticism lines like, she's not ready for prime time.
That was a good one.
That's a pretty good one, actually.
No, that's
That's a pretty good
was
one.
not bad.
It was
No,
like,
it wasn't
it was a callback to that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
She's not ready for respiratory playing.
I am. So she. I've watched some of her TikTok stuff, and it's okay.
Oh, here we go.
No,
Oh,
I,
boy.
no, I did
Here's
because
here's more on Nate.
I wanted to see like what
What do you have against women?
got her famous. Well, no. Here's what I'm going to say is, where's Sarah Sherman been?
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Yo, those are two sides.
Actually, I wonder
that's
if
a different side of a different coin.
she wasn't even in this episode, was she?
Yes, she
was.
was.
Was she? Where was she?
She was in Smitty's Burger Garage.
That's right. Okay.
But
She was in Smitty's Burger Garage.
but she wasn't in last episode much either.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know. What if maybe Jane Wickline's best performances are like the Please Don't Destroy guys? They need to be in front of a video camera, right? In
Maybe.
like they need to be edited.
I
They need
guess
to
we'll
be-
see after maybe 2 episodes have come and gone, Nate. Give it a little time.
Okay, you guys have been critical of other cast members when they've not been that great.
Yeah, but not after the 2nd episode, man.
Well, she's been in a crap load of sketches.
Yeah, but like bit
For-
parts though. Come on.
Okay, but didn't you think she was a little stilted in the last week episode when?
No, that's what I'm saying. Though I don't think I think that her natural personality is somebody who just sounds awkward.
So why are we putting her in sketches then? Because it's making the sketches
because she's still
worse.
funny. She still can be
But she's
funny.
not- was she fun? Did she bring comedy to that sketch?
I will say, like,
It wasn't her job
Let-
to bring comedy to that
Okay, then
particular sketch.
put Sarah Sherman in
but
there then.
here's the thing.
But if that character's not supposed to be funny, why would you put Sarah Sherman in that role?
Because she can play a straight character.
no, here's the difference. I think that this is where I'm siding with Nate on like the Devil's Drop one. You have a better actress.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You know, because the
She was
stilted
playing a
delivery.
straight person.
She was. I mean, obviously, this is still nerves and everything, but she faltered quite a bit on like her timing and reading the cue cards, and it was very awkward.
you got to give her a chance.
I'm just saying, I agree there though. Like, if you wanted that sketch to be picture perfect, if that was on SNL 50 and you put Sarah Sherman as a straight person doing that role,
She could
she
do
would
a
have
straight
nailed it, and it would have been awesome.
That
and it would have
sketch
been,
would never be on SNL 50.
oh my god, you know what I mean? If the pressure was really on to make sure it was the best it could be, you wouldn't have her on that.
Yeah,
right?
but that's the point though. Is it's not SNL 50. It's the 2nd episode of season 50, and
but
they're
it's such a
Why
cutthroat
not
place
have the
though.
standards,
but they're
though?
yeah,
Exactly.
they do have standards, but you have to also give them room to figure that out. Like I'm sure they'll see if she continues to not work, then that's one thing. But you give them time to figure it out.
But they got rid of people like Chloe Trost again.
I think that Nate just is mad about that.
I mean,
I am a little mad about it.
I'm mad about that too. But one of the things that you don't know is you don't know what the dynamic was behind the scenes. You don't know if maybe Chloe Trost was maybe getting a little
monster.
too big for
Yeah,
her
maybe-
britches.
maybe.
You never know what it's like that.
But I'm just saying there were better cast members, and I know probably the bigger ones, right, don't want to do the small straight like bit parts anymore,
Right.
But
Those are the roles that you do give to those cast members because you want them to like get used to being on a live program like that.
But I think I disagree. I think that
you can disagree all you want, but that's what you do.
No. I think that Ego would have been like, oh no, I'll be in that. Like they want as much screen time as
she's done that before, right?
They want as much. Everybody wants as much screen time as possible. So it'd be like, oh, I don't want that to be in that sketch because it's only got 5 lines and I'm only a quarter of the. No, they're really I want that.
You put Heidi in that sketch, right, as the other lifeguard.
Don't put the image of Heidi in a bathing suit in Ben's head, Nate.
No,
yes,
but
that's a winner,
right? She could have brought the absurd a little more. Like, are you asking me? Like, is this what you're suggesting? Because Heidi can do that.
But the other thing is that
she's a better actress.
But I think that you pick someone like Jane Wickline because she's young and young people have lifeguard roles. Just a practical casting thing.
That's fine, but like there's going to be the table read and then you're going to have the dress rehearsal, and if she was that stilted awkward, like you would just replace her.
But maybe that's what they want for that character though. Maybe they want someone who is genuinely
not able to read the cue cards as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They
don't want that, Brad.
You can't read cue cards either.
I'm not on SNL.
You can barely read a book.
I don't know why you're so defensive.
Because it's the second episode, and give someone a fucking chance.
Here's the thing: is you could say, yeah, she's terrible. I'm giving her a chance. That's fine.
But she's not terrible though.
She has not been good so
Brad,
far.
So that's where again I gotta say she's not good. It's okay.
But you could say I'm going to give her a chance. Though.
Both of those things can be true. She's not good right now.
I think she's decent. I don't think she's great.
She's not,
I don't think she's terrible.
What has she done that's been decent?
Travis Kelce read the cue cards a little better than her.
Travis Kelce can't read a tire.
Oh, Travis Kelce was 1,000 times better than her.
I am sick of this horse shit.
My Kelsometer says that he did a pretty good job.
Your Kelsometer is just your penis, and it just gets hard on when you see Kelce on stage.
Yeah.
And where's the lie?
Moving on, Smitty's Burger Garage.
You know what? Gene Wickline's funnier than both you guys.
I agree.
Maybe. Well,
still, also maybe doesn't deserve to be on SNL. The time will tell, Brad.
There's a lot of funny people that aren't on SNL.
What are you doing, Donald Trump? A lot of people out there saying.
A lot of people saying.
They say Scooby-Doo.
All right, Smitty's Burger Garage, written by Heidi Gardner, Carol O'Sullivan, Ben Marshall, John Higgins, and Martin Herlihy. Where you guys been? Siblings.
Wow.
You're just mad at the world this time.
I just love these guys. I love the Please Don't Destroy guys. Actually, I just listened to their episode that was from last year on Pete
Also,
Holmes.
this is not called Smitty's Burger Garage. It's called Mile High Burger Challenge.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was Smitty's Burger Garage. I don't know where I got that from. Maybe they changed the name. I don't know. Siblings, played by Nate Bargatze, Mikey Day, Bowen Yang, and Sarah Sherman, discuss how to help their ailing father during a distracting lunch. Whenever the table comes out in a restaurant like that, it's going to be fun. But, and again, I've been Captain Complainer. I understand this. I understand this right now.
Yeah.
The microphone issues at the beginning
it was
frustrated
weird.
The hell out of me.
I don't think that it was something that they could help. I think there was some.
I know they couldn't.
There was a weird technical tinny like echo.
But did you
or
guys
something.
notice it? Well, yeah. There was a microphone either turned off or
malfunctioning or something.
Malfunctioning.
Yeah.
Yep. So they had to push up the other, which then was getting the feedback. I don't know if you noticed, just a little bit of feedback there because they had to turn up one of the other mics that was not by them.
It was only for like a split second
because they fixed it.
Yeah.
But like it drove me crazy that first couple minutes. And it was good to see Sarah Sherman. I wasn't sure if they fired her.
Well, she was in the opening credits.
Driving the bus.
Yeah. You don't give that job to someone who got fired.
Yeah.
But what did you guys think of this? This was obviously very physical comedy.
Lisa from Temecula Vibes-ish stuff. It was fine, and then it got awesome, right? I was like, oh, I get the premise here.
Yeah, at first I was like, okay, but as it went on, it got funnier, and I loved the sketch. And
it wasn't and of course, if you make anybody do what Heidi Gardner had to do to that food on her face and so, it's going to be funny to a certain level. But then their choice to be like still making her, I just want to be your silent supporter.
Yeah.
Like she's still all in with it. And then she actually started like, put him in a home and leave him there.
Yep.
It just got really weird. Like the character changed and it was the funniest thing.
We watch SNL more closely than most people. And I don't know of. I probably can't think of many sketches where Mikey Day actually breaks.
It's tough to get him to, and
usually-
it's mainly because of Bowen, not because of Heidi, because he's looking at.
Well,
Bowen.
no, Mikey was definitely breaking because of Heidi.
He was looking at Bowen and he started. But see, that's the crack.
No,
He cracks and then he looks over at Heidi and loses it.
Yeah, because early on there was a couple close-ups on Mikey where he was like when he saw Heidi dive into the food.
Oh, it was so good.
Because they're seeing things we're not, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like she's probably trying to be as messy as she can.
And she's obviously doing it even when the camera's not on her because like she has to keep it going. But like, yeah, I mean, initially her munching down everything is hilarious. But then what we love to see escalation is, all right, 5 minutes. You know what that means? You can't use your hands. And her dramatic
Just a
slamming
wham!
her head into the burger.
It was amazing. That's commitment.
And that spit take was epic.
Yeah.
That was just a huge, thick burst of milkshake out of her mouth. It was insane.
And just the nuanced stuff, like, wait, that lasagna was this morning?
Yeah, the circling back to lasagna was so good.
No, the sketch was great.
I don't know if you noticed at the very end when they do the snapshot of her picture for the challenge, you hear Bowen Yang fully like let go his.
That's the best.
They were having fun.
They were having a lot of fun.
Nate didn't have a ton to do here, but what he did, he was fine with. Right? He played the straight person.
Yeah,
Well, my favorite part that he had was early on when she first starts, and you just see him go 9 minutes.
Yeah, he's like, 9 minutes. Here we go.
All
No,
right,
we've never been to Hawaii. I just thought it'd be a good idea.
guys.
Hawaii's in America.
This is a groundbreaking episode because this episode brings back something that the three of us love.
Kissing.
And
Oh,
Kissing and.
an SNL digital short.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw this, I was just like, what? I could
Called
not believe it.
Sushi Glory Hole.
Do you want to know what this was credited as in the actual credits for SNL?
No.
Just SGH.
Two guys played by Andy Samberg and Akiva Schaffer. Actually, I did. I'm like, is that Akiva?
Oh, I recognize him
Oh, yeah,
immediately.
of
Well,
course. Yeah.
I didn't think. I'm like, did they put like makeup on James Austin Johnson or something? Like, because again, I hadn't seen Akiva. I didn't
Sure.
expect him to come back, right? Sing out eating sushi through a glory hole with Kenan Thompson, Maya Rudolph, and Bowen Yang as the executives. James Austin Johnson, Andrew Dismukes, Mikey Day, Devin Walker, and Chloe Feynman play various people. A couple quick comments here. This was brilliant. Secondly, I mean, Andy Samberg was freaking spitting some rhymes.
No,
in this.
I think aside from the fact that this is good, great Lonely Island level stuff, like it's right in their wheelhouse. It's a catchy song. It's got a good rap to it. It seems like even in the time since we haven't had a new SNL digital short, they have evolved their rap skills along with the genre. Because that one verse that Samberg does in the stall where he does like the quick rattling off, even the audience was like, "Whoa!" Like he was fucking great
rapper, legit rapper.
It was fantastic. And on top of that, it's just really funny too. And like the thing that kept getting me is that even though you know what the premise of the sketch is that it's sushi glory hole, whenever they're near the glory hole, you're like, is it a penis?
It's so awkward.
Is it gonna be a penis?
And then they're like, yeah, because sometimes you're gonna get a dick.
Yeah, and the fact that they did make the fish look fleshy, like that, it was so funny.
And
it was
the app on his phone with all the SGHs.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
what the hell is this?
Yeah, this was such a great return for the Lonely Island. I love that they were able to do this. I hope they talk about it on the Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast. Maybe they'll save it for later as they go through, because they did mention the week that Samberg came back for the first episode, because they recorded ahead of time. They were talking about they're like, so you're gonna be on SNL, like it's coming, right? And he's like, yeah, unless something happens, like I don't think it's gonna.
Right.
But they didn't really dig into too much. They talked a little bit, but yeah. So I hope that they end up talking.
Because
about
I
this.
really want to know, did they have this not in the bag, but did they have? Have they
I
been
hope that they're.
workshopping this idea,
I hope that they're just
or-
working on a new album, because there's I think it was last year, whenever Digman came out, the animated series on Comedy Central, I interviewed the co-creator of that series and Andy Samberg, and I had asked him if if there was any chance of them doing another album or something, and he was like, yeah, it's like we totally want to. It's just a matter of if and when we can do it.
We've all got kids now.
No, yeah, and so and he said something. I think it was on one of the Q&A episodes of the Lonely Island Seth Meyers podcast. Someone else asked if they were ever going to do another album, and Sandberg said that they want to. So I think that I do wonder if they've been working on stuff in the interim, and this may be a lead up to like them having some new stuff here soon.
Sure.
Ben, what did you think?
No, it was great. I had to go back and watch it a couple times because I was just last night when I saw it. I was just so taken aback by what was happening.
Yeah,
I wasn't really paying attention to it. I was just happy.
Yeah,
So then when I went back and watched it again, that verse,
you can hear the giddiness of the audience too when they realize what's happening, because like at first like there's like the SNL digital short comes up and everyone's like, wait, what? And then you see Sandberg and Keith walk in and you hear some of the audience like oh my god, what's happening?
Yeah, it was well worth the price of admission here. They haven't lost a step.
Yeah,
it's just a more mature version of them rapping. Basically,
this is the first one they've done since 2018. Natalie's Rap 2 was the last one that they did on SNL.
I hope to see.
Welcome back,
more.
boys.
Welcome back.
That was fantastic, and maybe with Andy being more involved with the show,
Hopefully
at least for the next month.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, all right, that is the show. That's it.
No,
right?
it's not. That's not true. There's one more sketch after this.
Was there?
Yep, Coach Allen.
Oh, that's right. I missed that one.
Yeah, we could just end the show. It was all good
because it was only
every sketch was at least good. We're done.
No, Coach Allen, I think is good. It's easy and it's brief, but I think it's fine.
It's fine. It's not good.
So
it's
Coach
fine.
Allen, since Nate didn't do anything about it.
I got you.
Since Nate didn't do anything about it.
Coach Allen, a football coach played by Nate Bargatze, is upset about his money, while the other coach, Andrew Smukes, tries to hype his team, played by Marcelo Hernandez, Devin Walker, Michael Longfellow, and Emil Wakeham, up. This sketch was only about 2.5 minutes. It was a very short one.
Yeah.
It was Bargatze is owed $20 for the jerseys. It's been 8 weeks.
Well, the best thing about this sketch and what made it amusing to me is you've got this Mukes doing his part of like trying to hype the team up, and then you keep going back to Bargatze, who is like, yeah, I can't believe you guys, some of you guys still haven't paid me for the jerseys. Like, I'm not gonna forget about it.
It was just too one note for me. There wasn't any escalation.
I totally agree.
That was my favorite line, by the way. I'm not gonna forget about it.
I wrote it down.
And that's but that is Bargatze's strength.
Yeah.
Taking that line and the way that he says it, I'm not gonna forget about it, like, because he is so good at pointing out what would happen in the real world.
Yeah.
And I love that he did that in the golf thing. He did it.
Definitely the case
so
where,
It was. I totally agree. It was easy. It was one note. It was not great by any means.
It was the weakest sketch of the night. Yeah.
But like as far as being the quote unquote worst sketch,
I'm fine with that. Yeah,
we've had plenty of times when the actual
it wasn't a bad
Charlie
sketch.
Not at all.
XCX sketch from last week. Let's say
I mean, how would you rate this episode? I mean, we pretty much if that's the worst sketch.
No, I actually think that this
it's gonna be hard to beat this one.
I think this episode was better than his first episode.
Yeah, there was
start to finish.
Because start to finish, there were a little bit more. Maybe the first George Washington was higher,
right?
But
His
man,
monologue was a little
this
better,
was
like,
really solid.
Yeah, it was consistent, and the sketches were all like good to great.
Yeah, all A's and B's here.
Yeah,
and if Coach Allen is a B minus, then shit, man.
Yeah, there are some episodes where we're striving
a lot
for
of C's and D's.
Yeah.
So I'm all in here.
And it's always a win when you don't hate the cold open.
Yeah, honestly, that was a B. It was a solid B.
There were some really good things about the cold open. Sketch of the night, was it the digital short?
The golf. No, for me it was the golf.
I went with Mile High Burger.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I ended up. I wasn't sure, and like the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, man. I just really dug the escalation. I thought Heidi went for it. I liked framing it with such a serious wraparound of what they're talking about.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. I just thought the golf one was so. It's like it's not a premise I'd seen before.
Yeah.
It was so well done.
No, it was very good. It was very good.
It's very original.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I liked it.
What about you, Nate?
I went with Sushi Glory Hole.
Okay.
I just thought it was brilliant.
I like that. Hey, see? Gotta be tough.
There's something for everybody.
Tough to beat an episode where you get three different
that
great
doesn't
sketches.
rarely happen. Yeah. Usually we're almost always in agreement. Like this is clearly
favorite cast member.
For
MVP.
me, Jane Wickline.
That's fucking funny. That's really funny. Man,
I had a hard time with this. in that
I forgot to pre-think here, so I'm thinking. I think I might give it to Nate. Like,
thank you.
I think I might because I
had some good hot takes.
and it's basically because of Brad's point. Like when SNL is at its best, it writes for the host and lets the host increase the value of the sketch by doing what they do and doing it very well. Nate Bargatze delivered his lines in such a way that it was so original and specific to his character, but all it did was make everything he did better. So I think every sketch was better because of him, and he was in a lot of sketches. So I'm going to give it to Nate Bargatze.
Yeah,
see, that's why I wouldn't give it to Nate Bargatze, though, because for me, when I've said this before, when no, I've said this before. When the host gets the MVP, it's because they go above and beyond even like what you expect from somebody like that. Nate did exactly what you want him to do and what you hope he does.
Fine. Who's your MVP?
Let me before you say. Here's the hard thing. This is why I struggle with it. Is there were like 3 or 4 cast members that all had great sketches. Heidi Gardner, right, did really well in the burger sketch. Michael Longfellow did great in the EMT sketch. Marcelo Hernandez did really great in his sketch. But I don't know of anybody that did multiple sketches or, had a sketch and a Weekend Update bit. So I'm going to go with you, Ben, because I think Nate Bargatze is the only one that consistently...
Oh, so because you can't make a difficult decision, you're going to agree with Chucklefuck McDoucher over there.
No, but because if somebody, in order for me to give the MVP, needs to have more than one solid sketch, right? That they carried that sketch.
It depends on what the sketch is, which is why I'm giving it to Heidi Gardner for the Mile High Burger sketch.
That's fine, but the reason that this episode was all A's and B's is because Nate Bargatze.
I agree with that. I agree, but I don't.
So that makes him the most valuable player because you take him out of that.
But you expect the host to do that, and that's why for me the host has to go above and beyond to be the MVP.
I disagree.
But you're wrong. So it's Heidi Gardner because she went all in on that burger and just fucking put it all over her face.
One sketch. You'll give.
You know what, Nate? I want to see you fucking eat a huge burger and a chocolate cherry shake like that, and let's see if you're not the MVP of the day.
Don't tempt me.
Piece of shit.
I'm on a weight loss.
And where's your Heidi Gardner love train, huh? Why don't you hop on that thing and come over here where it's nice?
Like I like her and everything.
Apparently not.
But why is Brad so angry tonight?
I'm getting sick of your bullshit. Like first you don't love Jane Wickline, then
neither do I.
Then you. By the way, I kind of have Ben on my side.
I'm literally saying the more you keep talking about it, the more I'm like, shit, Nate's right.
First of all, that's my secret, Nate. I'm always mad at Ben, so I have to like give you some of the wealth too. So no, it's that. It's like you're thinking that Nate Bargatze is the MVP. Yeah, he was fucking great in this episode. He's not the MVP though.
He was great in more than one sketch, Brad.
But he's the host. He's supposed to be great in every sketch he's in.
No, that's not at all what happened.
Yeah, the host is supposed to be good in every sketch, though.
Most.
Oh, they're not? They're not supposed to be good in every sketch.
Everybody's supposed to be good in every sketch.
Right, but the host especially.
No, the host is the one.
The host is the star.
The host is the one you give the most grace to because it's so hard for them to come in and crush.
The host is the star, and not when it's someone like Nate Bargatze. You know they can crush, and you expect them to crush.
Okay. Disagree.
If Adam Driver's coming in to host, what you think? What?
I think I gave him the MVP last time.
Yeah.
He deserved it.
So did Nate Bargatze.
He did as well.
I'm sick of this.
All right.
Hey, in the comments, all I just need you to do is type Ben if Ben's right, or Ben and Nate if Ben and Nate are right, or Brad if Brad's right. That's all you got to do.
And if you think you agree with me, Jane Wickline's not been great, let me know. If you think
send him a private message. We don't need to see that kind of.
Brad is right that Jane Wickline's been the MVP of 2 episodes.
No one ever said that. No one remotely said that.
Brad said my favorite cast member of all time, Jane Wickline.
Mm-hmm. You literally said that. Literally.
Said that.
All right. Hey, we've got another episode next week. Who's the host, Brad?
Who cares?
Ariana Grande.
First of all, no one says her name like that.
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande will be back hosting the October 12th episode. She'll be joined by a musical guest that I forgot.
Stevie
Nicks from Fleetwood Mac.
Who's really chart-topping still.
Hey, rumors has it that she's going to be on the show.
She's a legend. Let her have it. Just like the white dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, say ooh.
Okay. I think the audience has had their fill, guys.
Fuck you.
Go flicks yourself?
Yeah, man.
Ariana Grande will be back. She's hosted before, and this is I think it's her second time hosting, or is it third time? Second time, third time.
She previously made her third musical guest appearance and hosted one time.
There we go. So second time hosting, and it'll be the third of 4 episodes. So make sure you come back after that. And I think that at some point very, very soon, we'll have a bonus episode for us to talk about the Saturday Night Live movie.
We'll see.
Once we've all seen it. Nate's the one who's dragging his big hog around and can't find time to go into the theater.
Ben hasn't seen it.
But Ben has to go see it because we have another podcast appointment to talk about it as well. So he will be seeing it. You're the one who's dragging your feet.
I'm gonna see it.
When?
In the future.
Oh, interesting. Can't commit.
Hey, buddy. You're going to see it on your own time. It's fine.
Thank you.
Don't you fucking give him his little baby blanket.
You have been a pill tonight.
You've been
You've been a bit of a pill. Okay, so I'm just trying to give my friend
when this
Nate
podcast
a little
is done,
grace.
we're gonna have words.
Yeah, we're going to have a sidebar.
Oh, I don't care. I'm a jagged little pill.
All right. Well, please rate, review, subscribe, do the things that people do with podcasts.
I think they're going to unsubscribe because
Share.
of Brad's jagged little pill attitude.
More
More people are going to subscribe because of that. They're going to be like, I'm glad someone's finally come out here and
Brad's
telling it.
super
more is
emo
that.
now. He's writing really dark poetry. But again, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week for another episode. Give us some feedback in the comments about what you loved about this episode. Any of Brad's opinions that you didn't like, we definitely want to hear those.
Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Brad, where can people find you online?
Who cares?
All right. Thank you so much for listening.
I write new reviews of Saturday Night Live at slashfilm.com.
Yeah, you had your chance.
On Sundays,
Just
the
cut 'em
day
off,
after
Nate. Just
the
cut 'em off.
episode airs. I edit the episode, so this all stays in. And you will love reading my reviews because they are my opinions that are good.
All right. On behalf of my friend Ben and I, we love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Bye-bye.